Hi everyone, my name is Janice and this is my cultural learning experience. So for the first time I actually decided to experience the Renaissance Fair. I know that it's been located in several Southern California and several other different locations throughout the United States, but I've never really had a chance to experience it. So I thought it would be fun to experience that era. So I just want to briefly show you the reflection that I wrote. I don't really want to bore you with all the text and the words because I did take a couple of pictures. But basically, it's a unique cultural experience that's found, like I said, in different locations, mainly California, Illinois, Wisconsin, and New York. It's an outdoor event that promotes a historic time period open to the public, and it's found locally in Irwindale, California. The Renaissance Fair offered a variety of entertainment. They had tons of activities. They had different plays, shows, cultural experiences that were experienced throughout daily lives in that era, which some of the activities included knife throwing and archery. If you didn't know how to do it, that actually help instruct you and show you how to do it. They also had tons of food. They also carried different artisans or craftsmen. So they did have blacksmiths, woodworking. They had a lot of glass that was shown. I guess that was also an important, art experience, you could say, during the Italian Renaissance. So that was also represented as well. So basically, when I first walked into the experience, they immediately were in character. And before handing your ticket over, it was considered the smile only zone. So once you passed beyond that entrance point, you were only allowed to have fun at this experience, which that was definitely the case for me. And I also took my son with me, so for him as well. So rather than bore you with all the details, let me show you a few of the pictures that I took while I was there. When you first walk in, they do have different, I guess you could say, they have people that are clay making, doing the woodworking. They also had the blacksmiths, which this was a picture of. And it showed, it truly depicted what type of technology that was available during that era as well, and how they actually created the items. So this shows them a little bit more up closely. He was actually creating like a little spear, pointy end on the end of that metal pole, I guess you could say. This is also an image that was taken right before a maze. It's called a fool's maze, and it was almost impossible to get out. It depicts some of the activities that were done during this time era, or time period, I guess you could say. Here's an image of a girl that was dressed up. She was actually in one of the shows as well, but I caught a close-up of her. She was actually blowing bubbles for all the people that were passing by. Some other activities was basically to test the strength. They also had a dunking tank as well that you could try and dunk. They had parades. They did have various people walking down the streets. What I thought was also funny was they had the pub crawls as well. So there were basically a huge group of people that would transfer from each pub, and they were rowdy as well. So I unfortunately didn't get a video of that, but I did capture some videos. This is a video that actually shows one of the plays that was being shown. So let me show you a short clip of that video.
Yes, before Prozac, before Ritalin, this type of thing was used to secure the more mentally ill and criminally insane members of our society. And speaking of insane, we will be using this on our very own Rebecca! Ladies and gentlemen, and now her sibling will secure her into the jacket.
So that's kind of just a brief video that shows exactly what was going on the different parades. That was actually considered like a comedy show. So and they had tons of different types. They had jousting. They had actually, here's another picture. This is another picture. They had game card playing, which was pretty popular back in or during the Italian Renaissance. Um, and you can take a look at some of the costumes. My son actually got a chance to play with them, was offered, and he was also required to call them by their names with respect. So, my lord. And it was just a really fun experience that they actually involved him in that era. This picture, actually, it's another video. Let's see if I can pull it up here. Um, this also represents the dancing that occurred back then as well. Also, ladies in costumes, gentlemen in costumes. So they had a lot of different varieties of activities that took place during that time era. I thought it truly depicted the Renaissance period, and especially with the costumes and how elaborate that they were. As you can see, they wore feathers, they wore big fluffy sleeves and shoulders. The gentlemen wore hats. They were sometimes, well, they switched back and forth between being clean shaven, and they also had those men with huge curly mustaches or got all elaborate in their mustaches. Um, so we saw that. They had different places that you could take pictures as well. That was one. And like I said, my son actually got to try the archery, and we also did the knife throwing as well. So that was a really fun experience. It was really hard to actually do. You need a lot of power in order to make the knife stick and the arrow as well. It was hard to pull back. I thought I would be able to at least get one on in target range, and unfortunately I couldn't. So I think I would probably need a lot of practice for that. All in all, I thought it was a great experience. I thought that it truly depicted that time period and era. Um, it showed the lack of technology that existed. Basically, the instruments that were used in the music and art or artwork, and transportation, products, running water. They hardly ever took baths during that time period. I know they only washed their clothes a couple times a year because of the water. Also, because the water was so dirty or unavailable for them to drink, they actually that's where they came up with the wine and beer drinking. Basically, the wine was in Italy and France, but the beer drinking was in Germany and England or England. And then I also wrote about how it took place in history and how much of an impact that it had on society, especially society cultures and wealth between the wealthy and the poor. There was a huge gap between these society classes, and it was a big deal back then. And it definitely changed the history. It changed the history period. So, like I said, many of the historical people that were found in this time era were well known, and they were well known for either their science or art improvements or government as well. So I thought, like I said, I thought it truly created that experience, and it made it meaningful to families and teachers or students. A great idea that I thought this would be. They do have a school day that's only for schools. Since this is only or found or able to be visited. I'm sorry, since you can only visit this during the weekends from I think up until May. They have one special day that students are allowed to go, and I think it would be a great field trip idea for teachers to become involved and have students experience that unique time period. So I thought it was a wonderful experience. I would definitely suggest it to anybody and future teachers. but anybody with children, families, or those interested in that specific time era. So thanks for watching my video, and I hope you enjoyed.